What's up guys, TJ Hartman here, back in with another video. Thank you so much for stopping by. It's so good to see you all. Today we're going to be looking at some songwriting and production tips that I use pretty regularly in a lot of my productions, and that is a tool called Splice. Now what Splice is a website that's basically an online community and a library, a vast library full of sample libraries, loops, often submitted by famous artists or other producers, as well as a really cool kind of pay-as-you-go access to different effects plugins, instruments, DAWs, and all that good stuff. So Splice has been a pretty amazing tool on the songwriting side of what I do. It's so much more than just hunting and pecking for a specific clap or kick drum or shaker tops loop or something like that. It goes far into finding chord progressions, finding vocal chops, finding audio samples of stuff that will inspire whole other ideas. So what I've got behind me is a production that I'm working on for a side project that I have going, and there are several elements of this production that were influenced or pulled directly from Splice. So before we jump in, if you could please do me the huge favor of hitting that subscribe button if you have not already. Click the like and drop a comment below. I would love to continue the conversation down in the comments or answer any questions that you guys have about how the services has helped me or how it could possibly help you. And without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so here we are in a session. This is a song from a side project that I'm working on called Wicked Mister. The tune, it's called Caught Up, where I'm currently writing this right now with a good friend of mine. And I wanted to briefly talk about how a tool like Splice has really helped this arrangement come together. This main Rhodes riff, actually let me just play the hook for you so you guys can get a sense of what we're talking about. Okay, so that's kind of like the main vibe that we're going for here. Let's see, this main Rhodes part, let's solo it real quick. It's kind of a syncopated, kind of funk deal. Now what's cool about this is that this is actually a MIDI file that I pulled from a Splice library. I mean, I completely modified it and changed it, but the inception or the original part behind it inspired this whole song. That's really kind of a cool place for me to start. With me being a drummer, I am classically trained. I did go to music school, but I am not a keys player. I'm not a guitar player or anything like that. Drums and percussion are my main forte. So when I start working on a production, one of the first places that I'll go to is to try to find a good chord progression. And sometimes if I can't find one on my own, if I'm playing on a MIDI controller or whatever, there are plenty of sounds on Splice that have accompanying MIDI files. So if you like a progression or you like a part, but you want to know what the parts are, you want to kind of modify it, or rewrite or reorchestrate or reharmonize anything you want to do, you have the option to do that. So you can basically drag and drop a MIDI file in here and start messing around in the piano roll and start moving your MIDI notes around, which is super cool. So the bass part basically follows the lower end of that, and then I put drums on top of it. So you get this pretty banging little groove. The parts down here, perk, this is actually all actual percussion. So you get a sense of what this is. It's a couple of different cowbells, shakers, a woodblock, tambo, and a clave. Which is pretty cool. It's like a party. And then down here, I know these all look like they're the same, but these are actually machina parts that I pulled from a different kit in there to kind of fill this out. And here's case in point why I absolutely love Splice. Is for all of these transitional things. This artist Cara, vocalist, who's got a ton of great sounds on there. She's got this transition thing that's basically just like a kind of like a little vocal that works really well as a transitional kind of idea. So here's what that sounds like. Really nice, really nice. So yeah, the vocal sweep, the little boo, and then this big clap impact, this kind of deal to hit right on that too. Those are all things I pulled from Splice. And then one of my absolute favorite ones that I've been using this a ton is from a That Sound library, and those guys they've been putting out some killer drum samples for years and years. But they did a drumline pack where they had Music City Mystique, which is an indoor drumline, come in and do a bunch of different samples of marching percussion, snare drums, tenor drums, bass drums. There's like ensemble playing. There's also individual kind of one shots. And I love this little ping shot. That's it basically if you were to hit a rim shot on a marching snare drum, but it's, 5 or 6 guys doing it. So it sounds like this on its own. It's just funny to think about this because I've actually heard this on several commercials. It's just, when they're using kind of like a drumline kind of vibe for the background music, I've heard this sample a ton. So then I take a transient designer. It's making the impact or the actual hit of the sample punch a little bit harder as if it were uber compressed. And then the sustain knob actually kind of draws the transient out a little bit so it breathes just a little bit more. So with that, you get kind of like a modified clap, which is, I absolutely love this configuration. And like I said, I've used this a ton. It sounds like this. Okay, without. And with. Awesome. So again, these are just some really short examples. And what's great about this is, you can have the Splice desktop on your computer here. And, here are some of the sounds in my library that I already have downloaded. And let me find that specific ping shot sample, and I'll show you how this works. It's drag and drop. It's incredibly easy. So as you continue to use the platform, you'll build out a little bit of library of some things. And, it's, like I said, it's incredibly easy. So here's that ping shot right there. Sorry, that's super loud. And then you basically take this and drag it into your session, right? So I have it on all the 2s and 4s. So it's as simple as that. You drag it in and copy and paste it all the way out. So I'm going to delete it because I already have it in here. That's a prime example of how this works. And then the last thing, basically this is all supplemental stuff that I've added on my own to kind of help fill out the whole vibe here. But the last thing that I added to really kind of glue the whole thing together was this really killer guitar loop from Corey Wong's new sample pack. Now, if any of you who know Corey Wong, he has got a really, really, really stylized sound of, like a really spanky Strat guitar tone. It's undeniable. It's one of those things where if you hear him, it's him. So I found this quick little like A minor riff that just sits so well with everything that's going on and just really kind of took the vibe over the edge. So here's his part. Here's the sample that I grabbed. We'll see what it sounds like. So yes, there are 2 of them. So what I did is it's actually one sample that I pulled, and I think I had to tempo shift it. I think the original tempo was 110. You can see right there. So I had to stretch it out to fit the 100 BPM. Sorry for that notification ding. And then I copied it to double it out. And here's a really easy trick to get one sample into stereo without having it played twice. You simply just copy it to a new track and then put a sample delay on it. And what that sample delay does is it slightly changes the timing of it from the original track that's duplicated from, and it makes it sound like it's in stereo. So highly recommend that. I'm not going to dive into that too much. Again, just kind of showing the proof of concept here. So again, this is a prime example of how the Splice platform can inspire the inception of a song and how it can add to and sometimes complete. In my case, it's done all 3. So the inception of the first Rhodes idea was from a MIDI file that I pulled in and modified to fit with this. And then I built the track out from there, recording drums, percussion, and all this other stuff. And then, I'm using transitional tools like this vocal swell, this clap impact, the little pitch drop. And, okay, so that fills out the arrangement. And then I wanted something to kind of polish out and finish the phrase. And I got that guitar loop. So, from inception to completion, Splice has been there the whole way. And that's, again, a super prime example of just how versatile the tool can be and all the things it can do for your production. So just one last time, let's listen to the full deal and we'll get out of here. yeah, pretty cool. I'm really happy with how this arrangement came out, and I'm excited to finish it with my buddy Kevin and get his vocal parts in here, and hopefully release this along with so many others, maybe sometime next year. We'll see. But before we go, let's pull up the actual Splice page so you can kind of see what it's like when you first sign in. Here is my page. So I would go over to the sounds page, and basically you can kind of search for whatever sound it is you're looking for. Or if you just want to fall down a rabbit hole, you can just start opening up these packs and listening to stuff and see what's out there, which is super, super rad. And beyond that, so like right over here, these are where you can find some packs that have MIDI files that you can download and work with. Again, it's all drag and drop. Super, super, super easy. And then from there, I also wanted to show you one other section where you can... They have plugins, and so that you've got rent-to-own, DAWs, effect plugins, soft synths, instrument libraries. I mean, all kinds of stuff. I mean, Serum is an industry standard soft synth, and I use that on almost everything. And I got it through Splice. It was a rent-to-own kind of deal. You pay, I think, $7 or $10 a month on it until it's paid off, and then it's yours forever. It's pretty rad. So there's, a myriad of examples of that, of, if there's an instrument you want to try out, there usually will be a demo period that'll go with it. And if you want to stop paying for it, you can. But the beauty is that it's not going to break the bank anytime you want to get your hands on something. Or if you're a creator that's starting out from scratch and you don't even have a DAW, you can come in here and get your hands on Ableton Live or PreSonus Studio One and pay as you go. And it's not going to break your bank, and it's something you can just chip away at month to month until you own it, and it's yours forever. So I can't recommend the platform enough. And again, I hope this was a little bit of an example of how you can integrate some really nice pro high quality sounds and samples and loops into your productions to help take them to the finish line, or start them, or fill them out, however that's going to work for you. So that's going to wrap it up. Thanks again so much for stopping by and checking this out. I really, really, really appreciate it. And I wanted to give a huge thanks to my friends at Splice for the opportunity to work together. Please click that link in the video description to get your free 100 credits or your free 1 month of Splice services. And that's going to wrap it up. So again, good to see you all, and we'll see you on the next one.